Yeah, that radiator needs to be washed out. Alright, I'll do that later. Come on. Oh yeah, got that side too. There's my air filter. I think I've got another one. I'm gonna go look. It's gonna need it. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, it's time to service the tractor. I need to cut hay. I'm way behind cutting hay, just to be honest. I should have cut it probably a month ago. It's just not what I had time to do. It's time for service on my tractor. I think I've got 875 hours on it. And before I do the service that'll make my hands sticky, doing the grease and the oil, what I like to do is do the soft service. Check the oil, check the air filter. It's time for another air filter. This air filter is white. Okay? This air filter is normally white. So, you saw the radiator. I cleaned the screen on it, but the radiator itself's got a lot of debris in it. So, it's been causing my tractor to run a little warm, and every now and then it will idle down because it's too hot. So, it's time to get everything serviced. So that's what we're doing today. I'll have to go buy an air filter. I thought I had an extra one, but not. I tell you where I get them. There is a company called Bill's Tractor. I'm not sponsored by Bill's Tractor, but that's where I order my supplies. I've got a Mahindra dealer here in Richmond, but he doesn't stock the parts for my tractor. I don't understand why. He always has to order them. So if he's got to order them, hell, I'll just order them. That's just the way it is. It's aggravating as it can be, but it's just the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in until I can get one. Get in there. There we go. You just really have to work this up on there because there ain't no room here. And this is always right in the way. See, this hose is always in the way. So, let's put that in there. See if I can. There we go. That worked better. There we go. Up on it. I've got my clamp hung. Doggone it. There we go. Okay. Make sure that's free of debris. Yeah, I don't see any oil leaks or antifreeze leaks. Everything looks good. My belt don't feel dry rotted or cracked. The fan blade turns. Okay. But now this radiator looks like it's got quite a bit of debris in it, so I'm going to have to do something about that. Now, right here, when you take these sides off, right there is the oil filter. Okay, so I'm going to get the oil drained, and then we'll change the oil filter. Okay, here's the underside of my tractor. Right there is the bolt I have to take out. This is the oil pan, okay? So that bolt has to come out. And I just look around. See, remember we replaced that junction. That blew off because I used tractor transmission fluid instead of, when I got back and checked, when I changed the hydraulic fluid in this tractor, I bought tractor transmission fluid, universal tractor transmission fluid, and it should have been universal tractor hydraulic fluid. So it blew that junction off. It's designed to do that, I think, in case something happens. So it blew that junction off, and I wound up having to put universal tractor hydraulic fluid back in it because it blew it all out. So, but everything looks good. Everything looks dry. You know, as dry as it normally is, because the tractor gets wet underneath, going through the weeds and stuff. There looks like there might be a little leakage right there, but that may be where I spilled it too a while back. So, all right, now I'm just going to take this bolt out and drain it, and I'll just use a bucket. I've got a little bucket. Okay, you can't get a 5-gallon bucket under here, okay? So you just use a regular little bucket, and then I'll transfer this into a container where it's going to stay until I take it to be recycled. Okay? My dad used to pour oil out on the ground. I don't do that. All right, I'm going to take this bolt out, and then I'll come back to you. Now, this is one of the most hefty oil drain plug holes I've ever seen, so I really like it. Alright, there it is. Now we'll get that all drained out. I think it holds 3.5 quarts, but I haven't changed the oil in a year because you change it every 100 hours, but I change it every 150 to 200 hours. The manual says every 100 hours, but you know, that seems crazy to me. So I change it every 150 hours, and it's about 3.5 quarts. So let's let this drain out, and then I'll come back to you. All done. So I'll let that drip here a minute till it just stops dripping. I'll let every bit of that oil come out that can. And did I get up off the ground? No, this getting up and down off the ground is getting harder and harder and harder every day. So yeah. No, I didn't get up off the ground. Right there's my oil filter. Got to change it. It's in a place it's kind of hard to get to. Okay, and The oil filter don't have those little things here, you know, for holding on to it easy. But that one's not too tight, you know. I don't put them on real tight. It's just finger tight. So let's go ahead and get it while it's there. Now, you don't change oil filters every time you change oil, okay? It's every other time. There's the filter. Okay? Just easier to get to while I'm down here. Now, I'll go ahead and put that bolt back in. It's a 17 millimeter bolt. Okay? 17 millimeters. And I'll put that back in, and then I'll show you the new oil filter and tell you about where I got it. Okay, when you tighten these down, you do not, Dad would call it, don't do it coal miner tight, okay? So tight that you can strip it. There's a little thing right here. It's like a, it's like a lock washer, but it's not. It will flatten out. When it flattens out, this is tight enough, okay? All right, I bring it down till it's fairly snug, and then I give it a quarter turn more. To do it any more would just risk messing the threads up, and you just don't want to do that. So don't over tighten your oil plug. Okay, you can go on eBay and you can buy a filter that will fit your Mahindra tractor. This right here is a filter made for TYM tractors. Okay, it's a TYM filter. If you look at it, it's exactly the same size, exactly the same diameter, exactly the same rubber gasket size, and exactly the same screw in, okay? But look at the difference in size. Alright, this one's a smaller filter as far as length goes. Now, what does that have to do with anything? The truth is it doesn't have anything to do with anything, except if I put this one on, it'll interfere in putting the sides of my tractor on. So, if you want to not have problems, call the folks at Bill's Tractor. Alright? Bill's Tractor has the filters that match Mahindra. They come in a Mahindra box. They're officially Mahindra. Alright? Bill's Tractor, or go to your Mahindra dealer. Alright? I haven't found a substitute that's the same size. Okay? I have not found a substitute that's the same size. So, I've tried everywhere. I've tried Fram. I've tried them all. Okay? But I cannot find a substitute that is exactly the same size. And will I keep that other filter? Well, sure, I'll keep it. It will work. Alright? It'll work. It just interferes with the sides of my tractor going on. In case of a SHTF, I've still got a filter for my tractor, and I always keep extra oil. Okay? So, take that filter, get some oil on your finger, rub on that gasket so that gasket is lubricated up well. Then you just screw it on. And you don't screw it on, as my dad said, coal miner tight. Finger tight. That's it. Okay? Finger tight. Okay, getting up in there, it's kind of tough. Here's the oil fill. Take it loose. I'm going to set it over here out of the way. And that's not plastic. That's aluminum. Okay? Cast aluminum. You have to use a funnel. because there just isn't enough room to get in there. 15W45. I do not buy Mahindra brand. I buy Tractor Supply brand. See how many quarts is this I've got here. I've got a gallon, which is about 4 quarts. Like I said, I think this takes 3.5 quarts, but I haven't changed oil in it in 2 years. Okay, so yeah. Brand new. Oh. Don't get in a great hurry. You'll wind up spilling it everywhere. This 15W45, don't go down the funnel quick. Okay? You have to wait and let it go down. Okay, I think I put in about 3 quarts. Let's give it a minute. Pull this out and clean it off. Alright, it's reading just under full, but it all hadn't drained down yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cap back on and start it and allow that gosh, oh, I hate it when I get this way. I'm going to put the cap back on and allow that oil to drain down a little bit, and then I'll start it and let it fill the filter. Okay, the filter ought to be full. And I know I'm going to have to add more oil. What I had was 4 quarts. That's what the dipstick looks like. It's got a little notches here that shows you where the full mark is. Okay, it looks like we need about a pint. So I'll go ahead and put that in. Feels like I got about a pint left in the jug. Alright, can you see it? There's my full mark. And there that is. So when that runs down a little bit more, it'll be totally full because it's right there. And then there's the full mark. So, alright. So 3.5 quarts was right. That's even, that's with the oil filter change. Now, no leaks at the oil filter and no leaks at the oil pan, so we're good to go. Take that out, wipe it off, and what I do with these is I keep a rag down in them. That keeps the spiders out and keeps that oil from dripping anywhere and all that stuff. I'll talk about these rags and stuff here at the end. Okay, that's all there is to change the oil on your Mahindra EMAX, checking the air filters and all that stuff. I need to get an air filter. Now, the way these go on, right here and right here, just 2 clips. Okay? Then there's 2 clips, one here and one here. Okay? These have little bars and they just snap onto the bars, and these have little holes that they just slide into. So, I'll get over here, put this side on. So that's not back far enough. There we go. There we go. Yep, it's on. Okay. That's one. This side's the same way. It's got these hooks that hook at the top. But this side, it's a lot clearer to get to because this is where the oil change and stuff is. Easier to get to it. Come on, get back there. There we go. Okay, that's all there is to change an oil on a Mahindra EMAX. Now, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my little grease gun and all of these points on my bucket I'm going to give them a little grease. Till I hear it pop. Well, come off. Sometimes they're tough to get off. So, till I hear it go pop in the thing, and then that's it. Okay, it is so nice to have a place where I can keep all of my stuff for my tractor around the same spot. And have a place where I don't have to move the tractor. It was nice to not have to take the tractor and drive it over by the garage and block the driveway and work on it. Okay? This way I could put the bucket up last night. I put the bucket up last night, and then this morning it was already ready for me to come out, and everything was cool and easy to work on. It wasn't all wet from the dew. So yeah, that was nice, and being able to lay under it without having to lay in the wet grass. That's a bonus. Anyway, building this tractor shed is one of the best things I ever did. Anyhow, what will I do with that oil? Now, I change oil on this about every 2 years. Alright? I've had the tractor, I bought it in 2015. This is, I think it's got 925 hours on it. So, 15, May made 10 years. May made 10 years I've had the tractor. So, it wanted you to change oil every 100 hours. Well, I did that for the first 5 years. Okay, I changed oil every 100 hours. And then the warranty was up, so I didn't worry about it as much. I change oil 150 to 200 hours. What will happen with this tractor? If it's like my grandfather's Farmall 140 that he bought in 1968, I think. Yeah, he bought it in 1968. He traded in his Farmall A, and this is 2025, and my brother plowed his garden with it this year. Okay? You will pass your tractor down to your grandkids if you maintain it. It's one of those things that's going to last a long time. Imagine it, you've got this nice diesel engine in this tractor, and that diesel engine is going to last a lot longer than a gasoline engine would last, and a typical car lasts 200,000 miles. Imagine how many garden passes you have to make to get your tractor to run 200,000 miles. Okay? You will pass it on to your grandchildren. You know, but you'll have to maintain it. If you don't maintain anything, it don't last. And that's just the nature of the beast. If you don't maintain it, it don't last. So, I'll change oil between 150 and 200 miles, or 200 hours. Don't have 1,000 hours on it, and it's 10 years old, so somewhere under 100 hours a year. Now I've bought this zero-turn mower, which I was using the tractor to do all the mowing, so that's going to extend the life of my tractor tremendously, okay? Because I'll be using this other thing to mow with. So there won't be all that mowing with this tractor. Now I've got to go, that radiator had quite a bit of debris in it. That happens when you're cutting tall grass and that kind of stuff. It's got that little screen that keeps the debris out, but it still gets in there. So you've got to get that debris out of the radiator. It's wanting to run a little hot. It does not have a temperature gauge. Okay, my tractor does not have a temperature gauge. It just has a light that flashes when it's getting over temperature, and it automatically idles down if it gets too hot. Okay, it automatically idles down. So it goes down to its lowest idle and lets it limp along until the coolant catches up. So yeah, it's done it on me twice. So I'm assuming the radiator is very full. It could need a new thermostat. I don't know. But I don't think so. I mowed for a long time before it did that. Okay? I mowed for hours before it did that. So, and I pulled it over and stopped and turned the key off. And then when I turned it back on, it had accumulated heat. So I'm assuming that that's all it is, and so I'll wash that radiator out good. Do not take it over to your compressor and use really, really high air pressure. All right, you'll screw the little fins up in your radiator. Use water at low pressure. Okay, let me say that again. Use water at low pressure. Do not use high pressure on the fins of your radiator. You'll screw those little fins up, and next thing you know, they'll be blocked up again. Okay? You want them to be open and where the water can flow through. Alright? So that's just something you got to be cognizant of. It's made out of aluminum. Alright? So don't mess your radiator up. I need to check the hydraulic fluid. As far as for those of y'all that follow the channel, you know that I had a leak at the rear seals of at the back wheels. Well, guess what? I used Permatex sealer, put it in, left it. I've been using that tractor now for I think it's almost 2 years now. 2 years those seals have held. So hey, I am not going to complain. All right, 2 years they've held. Eventually, I'll have to take those seals out and take that transmission apart and put new seals in. Okay, I don't know if I'm man enough to do it. Okay, because you got to take the transmission apart and take those tires off. I don't know if I'm man enough to get those tires back on. All right, there's a lot of young men out there that can do that, but don't know if I'm man enough to get those tires off. Yeah, I ain't the man I used to be. So, but I do most of the work on my tractor. I do that. Now that motor oil, I change it about every 2 years. It's what it winds up being. Every other year I change the motor oil, and then every 4th year I change the filter. So I'll go ahead and order a filter and 2 air filters. I'll order me an oil filter and 2 air filters from Bill's Tractor. Again, this is not a sponsored video by Bill's Tractor, but they've been Johnny on the spot. And they've always got the parts when I need them. If I need a part, I can call Bill's Tractor, and they're helpful. They're right on it, and yeah, it's so simple. All right, and it's shipped right to the house. You can just go online, just type into Google Bill's Tractor. You'll find them. They carry all the Mahindra parts. So, as far as the oil, I put that oil in a 5-gallon bucket with a lid, and it's got a big label on it that says used motor oil. Now, in the fall of the year, I take a quart of that out and put it in a 5-gallon bucket full of sand. I've got a 5-gallon bucket full of sand, and I put my implements down in it. My shovels, my rakes, my post hole diggers, all that stuff. They go down in there. I press them in there 3 or 4 or 5 times. You know, the abrasive of the sand gets the dirt and stuff off the implement, and the oil oils them up for the winter. Okay? That way when I come out in the spring, they're not all rusty and messed up. So I do that with it. Ever so often I will use motor oil, that used motor oil. Some of it, I've got a pint of it sitting by my wood stove in the wood shop. And at the last burning of the year, I burn some of that used motor oil in with the wood. Alright, I get a good hot fire going, and I pour some of that used motor oil in it, and that kind of lubricates the flue and stuff and keeps the rust down. So I do that with it. My local oil change place where I take my car to get the oil changed, I do not change the oil on my car and truck. I don't. It costs me almost as much to buy the oil and the filter, and then I have to figure out something to do with the oil. It costs me just as much with the oil and the filter than I can pay for it to be done. Alright, so I just take mine to a quick lube and get my oil changed. And they told me when I got me a 5-gallon bucket worth of the 15W30, 15W45, which is what the tractor takes, when I got a 5-gallon bucket worth, just bring it, and they would take it and put it in with their recycling. So I don't have to worry about that. So I can take it to them. They'll dump it into their recycling when they change my oil on my truck. Okay? No problem. And I'm sure they sell that used motor oil. So I don't know. I'm not giving them nothing of value, okay, to me. It's nothing of value to me. But a 5-gallon bucket, and I use less than a gallon in oil change. So I'm just now getting a full 5-gallon bucket. Okay? I'm just now, in the 10 years I've had the tractor, I'm just now getting a full 5-gallon bucket. Because I've used it for different things. I used it for the oil. I've used it to oil other tools up. You know, I use that used motor oil for other things. There's no reason to let it just rot away. Okay? No reason to waste it and go and buy oil somewhere for a project that you're just trying to keep it from rusting and that kind of thing. So, yeah. Now, if you like this stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homestead stuff every week, sometimes once, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell, it'll be right up here when you come to the channel. It'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, with the occasional short on Friday, Saturday, and through the week. So now, time for me to get on to the next thing. I love you all.